Shrink Different with Dr. Wolf, the Change Agent.
Good evening, everybody. This is Steve Wolf, Dr. Steve Wolf, and we're here for Shrink Different Radio. One more time. I want to thank you all for your emails and your listening here, either live or archived. And we answer all the emails we get, so please respond or give us a call during the show with a question. I really enjoy responding to you. Shrink Different. The idea is that psychology has a certain orientation, which is to look at things that are problems. And the idea behind Shrink Different is that we can just look at emotions and the influence of emotions and how they influence decisions that we make every day, just to learn the basics about emotion without thinking that you have to be out of balance in order to study psychology. I just got back from a school. I've been working on this project. I call it my pineapple project because it takes 2 years to grow a pineapple. I think it also takes 2 years to grow asparagus. It's taken me 2 years, but we're about to launch a project where I'm teaching my program, Taming Your Anger with Emotional Intelligence, to an entire school of continuation high school students in California. That means all these kids, for one reason or another, aren't allowed into regular high school anymore. And so what I want to do is I want to teach them emotional intelligence as basic curriculum in the school. This is going to be part of what the school is teaching these kids. And the young woman is going to get her doctoral dissertation measuring some of the changes. And it's a real opportunity to do a little exploring and research and see, does it matter, kids, if they learn about their emotions? How will it affect them? Will it affect how they feel about going to school? Will it affect their grades? I just read this book called The Smartest Kids in the World. And what it did was it looked at kids from 3 different countries that had the highest scores in the world on this international intelligence test. You'll never guess what the 3 countries were. One you might guess, South Korea. The other one was Norway and Denmark. And the third one was Poland. And these are the kids that get the highest scores in ability to think intellectually and mathematically. And the one thing that these schools are very different, these schools. The one thing they had in common was the kids really wanted to go to school to learn. They wanted to go to school to learn. And the styles of teaching were really, really different. And so what I'm trying to do is to influence the kids in this school who have had these are kids that come from, as bad as it gets in our culture, let's put it that way, gangs and violence, drugs and poverty and all that. And trying to teach them emotional intelligence, which includes how to follow up on things that you want to do for yourself to improve your life. I call myself a change agent because I like to see myself as that. I'm a catalyst. I have been for many, many years, and I've been honored to serve other people in that way. And the last segment of our program is Change Time, where I will guide you through a process to help you create change in your life. And the idea is to recognize, first of all, what it is that you would value in your life, something you'd like to learn maybe, something you'd like to bring into your life, or a behavior you want to change. You have to identify it and think about whether you really want it or not, and if it would improve your life or not. And once you lock on and decide, yeah, I want to do that, then you want to take one small step in that direction. You want to identify a small step. And when you don't do that step, you see, this is where a counselor comes in, an emotional intelligence counselor. You want to figure out, what is it that's stopping me? I just gave somebody gave herself an assignment to do 3 minutes of meditation twice a week. She didn't do it. What is it that stops you from doing something so small that you would really want to do for yourself? This is an opportunity to look at what I call internal saboteurs. These are voices and attitudes and feelings that stop us from supporting our own goals. And so when you begin to recognize the voice of a saboteur, for instance, the reason that she didn't do it was, I couldn't find the time. Come on, give me a break. 3 minutes? You can do it anywhere. So you don't want to bullshit yourself, actually, because that's what you've been doing. So once you identify what the thought or the feeling was, which is, I don't have the time. The thought is, I don't have the time. And you listen to that, like they say in The Godfather. Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. So you hear that voice that says, I don't have the time. And you think it's the voice of a friend. And so you listen to it and go, yeah, I don't have the time. And then you don't do the very thing that you said you really wanted to do for yourself. So really, it's not the voice of a friend. It's the voice of a saboteur. Now, where the saboteurs come from and how they're developed, this is normal human development, by the way. We all develop these things. That's another story. I don't know that I'm going to go into that right now. But the idea of teaching these kids how to be proactive, to pursue something that they want for themselves in their own life, and then to figure out what stops them from doing that, that could be a real education. And my hope is that when they learn this, plus they learn how to deal with their emotional impulses, it's part of emotional intelligence, that they will actually begin to want to come to school. And a behavior will change.
A vast virus database has been updated.
And the teachers will therefore have a better day. The teachers will feel less stressed because there'll be less acting out and less attitude. I'm very excited about this. The first day of class will be 10 days, a week from this Friday. And we're going to do research, as I mentioned, doctoral student, and hopefully we're going to make an impact on modern education. I'm really excited. I also taught the program. I came over today from a group called Vet to Vet, housed over the Veterans Association. I went over to the VA. And so I trained several of these folks in my Taming Your Anger with Emotional Intelligence method, and they are now teaching it to veterans and their families. Tame Your Anger with Emotional Intelligence at no cost to veterans and their families over at the West Los Angeles Library on Wednesday evenings. And so the program is getting out there. It's exciting. I guess it's advertisement time. So you can also get it for yourself, by the way. Go to my website, tamingyouраnger.com, like taming a lion. Go to the coaching page. And so what this is a personalized coaching, online video training with a money-back guarantee. You get your own coach. You get a program you do in the privacy of your own home. It's a video program. It's me teaching, actually, to the vets. You'll see. And if you do what I say, you will, first of all, have a whole new understanding of your anger. You'll have a different awareness of your anger, and you will develop your ability to control your anger when you feel it, or I'll give you most of your money back. And you get your own coach. It's all online or over the phone. So the veterans are being offered this program at no cost. And so I'm teaching the kids, and it work for anybody, actually. Anybody that finds themselves erupting with people they love and getting into a negative situation, it's probably going to be with the people you love the most, because that's where we feel safest. That's where you feel safest, and that's where your reactivity is so strong, because you developed these patterns since you were a little one back in what I call the loony bin, where we were all raised. So anybody that watches themselves react in ways they don't like can learn to change their behavior. Now, one small step actually could be go to tamingyouраnger.com and check it out. That would be one small step in that direction. But it's when you erupt. You just get pissed off, and so with your kid or your mate or a work colleague or the woman at the supermarket, all of a sudden you come out of your mouth in the wrong way with a certain angry attitude. Now, part of the problem is somehow we accept this as okay. Most people somehow accept that these anger outbursts are okay, as if they're legitimate. And when you're angry, you feel really entitled because you're angry. Maybe you waited until you got angry to express yourself. Maybe that's why you feel entitled. Anger is empowering. It makes you feel big enough and strong enough to take on whatever the circumstances are. Even though it might not be a good idea, and I would say the unconscious automatic reaction with anger never produces a positive result, ever. Now, you might debate that with me. So the idea of erupting and bursting out with anger is that if you do, then people should listen to you, and you have the right to shoot your mouth off at whoever you want. Now, to me, that's abusive. And I personally have a no-tolerance policy with my own anger, because the building blocks of emotional intelligence teaches us that we are reacting with anger as a secondary emotion because we have to release the pressure. It's going to come out somewhere. That's why I got an email this week asking the question about how come a guy at work could scream at his boss and people would not necessarily act or stand up for the boss, or maybe the guy was justified, or stand up for him, and it becomes a whole big incident, and then the guy has to go for human resources counseling, and what happens with this anger stuff? Where did it come from in the first place? How come the guy was so angry that he burst out at his boss? How come somebody can go postal? I hear that comes from Oklahoma.
Yeah, right.
When some lunatic flipped out at a post office. So now it's called going postal. So what is all this about? How come? What's going on? People are angry. When you say people are angry, somehow that's supposed to end the conversation. Like, oh yeah, they're angry. But what does that mean they're angry? If you ask people, what is anger? They'll say, oh, ask yourself right now, what's anger? Say it out loud. Probably you said, okay, anger is a feeling, or anger is an emotion. If you said anger is a feeling, I'd say, okay, what's a feeling? So go ahead, say it out loud. What's a feeling? What's a feeling? You're with somebody. Tell them what a feeling is. I found most people will say what a feeling is an emotion.